Great. I'm Sarah Salmon, and yeah, I'm going to talk to you about Starseeds, but we're also going to talk an awful lot about what's going on at the moment, because in order to understand Starseeds, you really need to understand what's going on and why they're here. So before we go any further, a quick introduction. I hope you can read that. It's a bit light in here. Just a quick introduction to who I am. I've written various books. There are copies of them down there if you want to look at them. I've been a spiritual seeker on the path for a very, very long time. But it's only been relatively recently that cosmic landscapes, shall we say, have been opening up to me. I've been getting downloads for many, many years and not really knowing what to do with them, and until I kind of leapt off a cliff and went what I call galactic and started to rewire and configure and rethink all of the information that had been coming into me. And having done that, all of a sudden a whole new landscape, a whole new story opened up for me that makes sense. And for the first time ever, I had the answers to questions I've been asking myself all my life. So I've been diving deep down these rabbit holes ever since, and what I'm going to tell you basically is what I've found, or at least we're going to scratch the surface of what I've found. So we are a race with amnesia. I'm not telling you anything new when I say that. We are a race who have forgotten who we are, and this forgetting has been very deliberate. We are a shadow of what we should be as a race. We are a shadow of what our potential is. And all of it has been engineered. And we have forgotten what that potential is. We've forgotten our roots. We've forgotten where we've come from. We've forgotten our galactic families. And we are all very, very much part of a huge galactic family and a galactic story that's unfolding at the moment. And the whole thing is quite epic. You know, it's very Star Wars when we get into it. It can take a bit of getting your head around. And as I say, this takedown of humanity has been very deliberate. And the story has been going on in the way that we're understanding it now for 23,000 years. We have been open to interference, a lot of interference before that, but the real takedown started about 23 BC, something like that. It ramped up about 13,500 BC, yet again with the final takedown of Atlantis about 10,000 BC, and then the complete mind wiping came in about 5,500 years ago. And our history, the history that we're given in schools and through academics and the like, generally only starts about 5,500 years ago. And it's a manufactured history. And you know, the process of really getting to grips with this material is one of learning to put aside everything you've been taught, because it's a made-up story, in order to ensure that you don't understand who you really are, what you're really here for, and absolutely how fantastic and how powerful you really are. So, Starseeds. Well, I'm going to go into Starseeds a little bit more further on, but they are here to help us at this time. And Starseeds are members of our galactic family who have taken on incarnation here, boots on the ground missions. And I would lay money that probably most of you are Starseeds by dint of the fact that you're here. And Starseeds have come, they've answered a call, they've come from far and wide, because we are at a complete crunch point at the moment. Planet Earth is at a crunch point. And certain thresholds have to be achieved for us to move forward as a species. If we don't achieve that, and I'll be talking about what that is in a moment, but if we don't achieve that, then we will stay where we are, if not, go into what's called the transhumanism timeline. And the transhumanism timeline, as I'm sure most of you are aware, is not a pretty one. It's the end of the human race as we know it, effectively, and we become a hybrid species merged with AI and enslaved totally to hive mind creatures, beings. It sounds very Star Trek, but Star Trek got it from somewhere. So, what's going on at this precise moment? We are at what's called a bifurcation of timelines. We have been on a descending timeline, or a descending spiral of energy for a long time now, as I said, over 22,000 years. And we've been very deliberately moved onto that from an organic ascending spiral, and we'll look at this energy in a moment. But we are at a point where those two spirals of energy are crossing each other. And we have a choice at this point to dive one way or to dive the other way. Now, individually, we all know what we're going to do. But as a species, if humanity is to survive as a species, from the point of view of collective consciousness, we all need to shift ourselves up onto the ascending timeline. So we're at this point of time at this moment where it's a massive choice point. It's a massive choice point for all of us. You know, we are beings of frequency. We are beings made of sound and light. We may think we're very physical, but that's part of the mind wiping that's been going on with us. We are far, far more than that. And our frequency, where we have our thoughts, our beliefs, you know, our mental chatter, our emotional well-being, all of this will decide where we are on this scale and which energy spiral we end up ultimately going down. So it's a really, really big deal. And because it's a really, really big deal, and the fate of our species actually, you know, is being decided at this moment by all of us, that so many starseeds are here. Because starseeds are here to anchor frequency. First and foremost, anchor frequency. There's a lot of other things. They're not one-trick ponies. None of us are one-trick ponies. But first and foremost is to anchor frequency to ensure that we can keep the frequency of the planet high enough that we move in the right direction. So, this moment in time is what's called a stellar activation cycle. And a stellar activation cycle is when it comes around about every 26,000 years, and it's when all of the galactic stargates on the planet open. And we're going to look at multidimensionality again in a moment, because each stargate, each of the 12 stargates, universal stargates, open into a multidimensional layer. And when all of those open, the ability for ascension, not just for you and me, but for the planet, the possibility for ascension opens up for us. As a consequence, those with fallen consciousness who want to keep us here like animals on a farm, feeding off our energy, using our energy quanta, using our creativity and imagination and all of the wonderful things we're capable of, and feeding off it to keep themselves alive, all of them are putting everything they can into shutting us down at this time. If you think, I mean, think back to, I don't know, the late 90s. Think of the world we were in then and look at what's been going on now. I mean, the levels of fear, the levels of war, the levels of just control mechanisms and brainwashing and, you know, what's going on with education and all sorts of things like this. It's ramped up. It's ramped up in spades, and it's all designed to keep us in the lower frequency bands, keep us fearful, keep us frightened, keep us small, keep us believing there's nothing more than you know, us being physical bodies. We're, You know, we came from amoeba knocking together in a muddy puddle, you know, a long time ago, and somehow then we became some kind of fish creature, and then we crawled onto land, and hey, here, you know, next we're apes, and then we're humans, and it's complete bollocks. I mean, it is absolute bollocks, excuse my French. We are so much more than that, and our true history, humans have been on this planet, for starters, for millions of years. We are the third seeding of humanity on this planet. 2 previous seedings have been wiped out by fallen races. We are the third seeding, and we have a job to do here. Humanity has a job to do here. We are put on this planet for a reason. And a very important reason is that. And we have been deflected and put off course and digressed and abused beyond belief in order to stop us from fulfilling that. And it's the time to draw a red line and say enough is now. Enough. We've got things to do. We need to get back to who we really are and move forwards from that. So, we are at this moment of potential ascension, and as such, we need to keep the frequency of the planet high to move from the 3rd dimension up into the 4th and 5th dimensions. The bifurcation of timelines I was talking about is the difference between what is called the crystal spiral of energy, or the Christos energy, and it's nothing to do with Jesus Christ. The Christos are beings who are source connected. The term Christ consciousness or Christos energy was around long before Jesus Christ was. He was an avatar of this consciousness, and a great teacher of it. But don't get hung up on thinking it's a religious term. It's not. It's talking about a way of being. It's talking about a certain frequency that you hold, and a way of behaving in the world. Fallen beings align to what is called base 10 mechanics, which is the Fibonacci spiral, and we are all very familiar with that because we've been taught and told that, you know, all of nature is built upon that. Now, we've been living in a base 10 creation, false overlay matrix for thousands upon thousands of years now. Nature is affected by it, our own templates, our own light body templates are affected by it. And it has run reversal energies on this planet for thousands upon thousands of years, damaging us, digressing us, damaging nature, digressing nature. We are at the point now where we can leap back onto the organic movement of energy, the crystal spiral movement of energy. And because this is the spiral that brings source energy into the planet and into us and back again. It's the route we follow back home. So connecting back into this is an opportunity that we need to grab, basically. And I'm not gonna go hugely into this. There are in the Lost Wisdom Library, which is on my website, and also in my Buy Me a Coffee page, there are articles that go into explaining the difference between the Fibonacci spiral and the crystal spiral. But basically, one is eternal and the other effectively ends up feeding on itself. And if you look at Fibonacci systems, they get so far in expansion and then they start to turn back in on themselves. So one is about expansion, the other is about contraction. Fallen consciousness contracts, Christos consciousness expands. It's really, really simple. And our planet, you probably can't see very well, but there's a tree of life here. You're probably familiar with it. It's the Kabbalistic tree of life, base 10 tree of life. That is the matrix that we've been living within. The organic matrix is a base 12 tree of life. It plugs us into 12 dimensions of matter. We live in a 15-dimensional universe, but 12 of those dimensions are actually matter-based, the other 3 aren't. The base 10 distortion has created an alternative matrix field that we've been caught within. We can move back into the organic fields with what's going on at the moment. Anybody who wants copies of these slides, if you give me your emails, I'll very happily share them. Send them out to you afterwards, because there's information that you can sort of sit and study a bit more and probably see more clearly. So very quickly, just to take you through the dimensions, because understanding multidimensionality is absolutely key. It's absolutely key to really understanding what's going on, what you have to do, what's opening up around us. So we live in a 15-dimensional universe, or as I often call it, a time matrix. We are one of thousands, millions of universes that are built on this particular pattern, on the 15-dimensional pattern. And there are structures beyond our universal structures that hold these universal structures, and structures beyond that. I mean, when you start getting into the God worlds, as Felix here will attest, your brain starts leaking out your ears. But yeah, I mean, you start here. So 15 dimensions, 15-dimensional universe. There are 12 dimensions of matter, but the 15 dimensions are split into what are called 5 densities, or harmonic universes. So harmonic universe 1 is density 1, 2, and 3. As three-dimensional beings, we're within harmonic universe 1, and harmonic universe 1 is all about full physicality. It's very dense. It's one of the densest areas of the God worlds you can get into. So we really are, right down at the bottom here with a long way to claw ourselves back up. As we move, and we do this through consciousness expansion, through what's called the ascension process, and I'll talk a little bit about what that is in a moment. As we move, effectively our physicality begins to change. We go from deep density to higher frequency bands and higher frequency bands and higher frequency bands. And as a result of that, we become less physical. So we move from full physicality into what's called a semi-etheric body, then into an etheric body. Then we become effectively what's called hydroplasmic liquid light fields, and then when we move beyond that, completely out of the pre-matter fields, into the fields that are pure consciousness, sound and light pure consciousness, that's where we're at harmonic universe 5, or density 5. And when we are there, our whole light body shifts and alters again if we wish to move out and beyond and meet our extragalactic families, as it were. Here, within all of this, we meet our galactic families at all sorts of levels, and we are part of these. As Starseeds, we are part of star nations that have come from these various densities. But we do have, once we have achieved, full recovery of our potential as a human being, the full potential of the human light body, we can move beyond this time matrix. We can move to other universes. We can move within the God worlds. The potential is amazing. We sit here so diminished, but the potential within you is truly, truly extraordinary. And what you're capable of. When you come back to yourself, what you're capable of. The human race has a very special template. It's a template that is designed to bring division together. and it's a template that is a hugely healing template for this entire time matrix because of what's taken place within it. We have an immense purpose and an immense job beyond planet Earth. So, yeah, it behoves us all, you know, all of our galactic families want humanity to succeed. That's why so many starseeds are here now. I'm not going to dwell too much on multidimensionality, but I want to really talk about the levels of consciousness as we move through the dimensions, through the densities. Our consciousness begins to alter and change, and our light body begins to change. I've written a book called Building the Light Body, which takes you through all of the various levels. But our template, our base templates begin to shift and change to take us back to the beings of light we are, from these very physical forms that we inhabit. And as we expand, and it is a process of expansion, our consciousness moves out. We move from what's called the full physicality of the personality, the ego personality matrix, into the consciousness of soul level matrix. And then from there we move into oversoul or monad, then into avatar, until we are in what's called rishi status, which is when we are these great, we come back to being these great beings of just pure consciousness, fields of sound and light and vibration. So we're a long way off that. Humanity holds a 12-strand DNA template. At the moment, we have 3 strands activated. So you are working at not even 25% of your capacity, because it kind of like multiplies and multiplies as you keep going up. We have a long way to go to reclaim this, but we are well on the way to doing that with the help of all the races here and all of the galactic races that are giving us help from the other dimensional levels. We are making a good start to getting back to this and reactivating, plugging back in. What has been done by the fallen races is they have effectively, remember the old-fashioned switchboards where you used to put a plug in? I mean, I'm going back to when I first started into office work and things like this. It's a long time ago now. But effectively, strand by strand, we've been unplugged. And as a consequence of that, our level of consciousness and our levels of understanding have fallen and fallen and fallen. Now, back in early Egyptian times, there was a 9th dimensional level of consciousness still capable of existing on this planet. By the time we're here, you know, there are some people who've only got two strands plugged in. Most have 3. Starseeds are, a lot of starseeds have managed to get to 4 and 5. We've got quite a lot of the indigo starseeds, which come in, we're going to talk about indigos later, but they come in with the 6th dimensional strand already activated. And they're here to really help to pull us through and into the next. And as it gets easier, as you begin to plug back in, it gets easier because you start remembering who you are. And once you start remembering who you are, then you really, really start to, you know, sort of fast track. So these different levels of consciousness are called stations of identity or multidimensionality. Stations of identity I think is quite clumsy. I tend to think it's easier to understand when you say levels of consciousness or levels of perception, how you see and interact with the world. So I want to just take you through those because, again, this understanding is very, very basic. It's very foundational to the work you do, understanding where you are and the changes that are happening. Because some of these changes can be very frightening if you don't understand what's happening. We've got people who are moving from the ego personality level into the soul matrix level at the moment, and there are what are called ascension symptoms going on, and people are going like, I'm ill, I'm sick, I need to go to the doctors, and the doctor gives you a drug, and that drug stops the process from happening because it's designed to stop the process from happening, folks, because they don't want you opening up and expanding. We're animals on a farm at the moment. You don't want the farm animals suddenly sort of getting up and saying, thank you very much, I've had enough of this. No, you're going to keep them dumb. You're going to keep them corralled on the farm, because otherwise you don't have food, do you? So the personality matrix, it literally is, it's the world of the five senses. We're all very, very, very familiar with this. I don't need to really go into anything about that. It's all about mind, mind over heart. The next level, it's about the heart. We move into the soul matrix, and by God, the soul matrix has been trashed. Our hearts have been trashed. The heart chakra of the planet, the fourth stargate of the planet, has been so abused. Our hearts have been so abused. Christos races, and the human race is a Christos race. Christos races have had great difficulty helping us here on this planet, because they have actually not understood how bad the levels of abuse and trauma have been here, what has been done to us. Because Christos races can't imagine anybody would behave that way. Why would you behave that way? And so it takes time. They've come in to help us, and it's like, first of all, we've got to get a grip of just understanding what has really gone on here, how badly the planetary light body has been damaged, how bad our light bodies have been damaged, what we need to do to actually get out of this. And Christos races are not militaristic. They do not fight back. You do not fight fire with fire, because then you become fire. So Christos races then have to say, okay, well, now we've finally got a handle on the problem. We can see what's been going on. How do we overcome this without becoming what we're trying to fight against? So you've got both hands tied behind your back when you're up against creatures who will stop at nothing. So it's been a massive, massive job. And if you think, oh my God, this has been going on forever, why haven't they done this more quickly? It's because it's been a massive job just to understand it, and then to come up with ways and means to overcome it without becoming part of the problem itself. And that's one of the reasons why Starseeds, so many Starseeds are here at the moment. So the soul matrix is really where we move into heart intelligence, into emotional intelligence, and it's our heart that makes the decisions. This is a good servant. It's a very, very bad master, as I think we all found out when we sort of look backwards at what's gone on in our history. So ego gives way to higher will, and I've put there prosper. It reminds me of I don't know how many of you are familiar with The Tempest, Shakespeare's The Tempest. At the end, effectively, the master magician Prospero, he gives it all up. This is the point of initiation of sacrifice. In order to move beyond and move further, you have to let everything go. And this is the point where our ego gives way to higher will. At this moment, it's our higher will, but it becomes spiritual will. At the next level, at the oversoul matrix, when we move up there, and that's at the oversoul matrix that we really, really start to plug back into our galactic families and into the other fragments of ourself, because we as our consciousness comes down into incarnation, down through the levels, we split. We're kind of like sparks of the divine, and we inhabit different bodies, and we kind of come back together again. If any of you are familiar with, if you've contacted yourself, as it were, at this particular level, you'll know that it's kind of like there are different versions of you that have been inhabiting different dimensions, and you just reintegrate yourself. You just become more whole. It's a coming back together, a coming home. It's a wonderful process. And you stop taking everything so personally. From this level, it's kind of like the eagle's eye view of what's going on. So rather than reacting to everything in a very personal way like you do at the ego level, or from a more considered but still possibly very personal way from the soul level, at the monad level, you really try to find the neutral point. And it's at the monad level that we really successfully begin to bring together the two polarities within our template. As our templates are designed to do this, but we have to do it within ourselves before we can help all the split and separation in the outer world. We have to bring together in what's called sacred union or hierogamatic marriage, the hieroscamus, the two parts of ourself. The male and female currents need to come together and effectively birth the golden child. And the golden child is really that neutral, central balance point in it all. So we can hold these opposing forces in balance. Again, it's the Chariot card in tarot, holding opposing forces in perfect balance. And that's a mastery. So you're as you move through these levels, you're mastering different aspects of consciousness. And then when you move into the avatar level, it is the full realization of that. And by the time you've plugged back in your 12th strand of DNA, you have fully developed your light body back to its full potential, and you then become capable of becoming what's called a cosmic citizen, traveling at will, because your consciousness inhabits every level. I've had a glimpse of this. I've been given a glimpse of this, and it's kind of like a little carrot dangled in front of my nose. This is what you're aiming for. You know how they do it occasionally? It's just like, there's the goal, and then it's snatched away, and you've got to work hard to get there. Where your consciousness is fully conscious at every single level. You can plug into 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D. At the moment, we know 3D, 4D, 5D, wherever we're at. And we can maybe go from 5D, and I don't know about you, but there are days when definitely I'm 5, 6, 7D, and there are other days when I'm definitely 3D, you seem to slide up and down the scale, but once you've got to this level, you don't just move. It's not just a movement of energy, a movement of consciousness. You can move back into physicality if you wish, or you can move up and beyond into the fields of consciousness, and then beyond that, out of this time matrix and beyond. So, the freedom that you've got and the choices that you've got, they say this is the level of the ascended master. The avatar level is the true ascended master, not the new age quackery that goes on. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And the true ascended master is one who can become the cosmic citizen, can move beyond the time matrix, or can choose to stay here and help other beings within the time matrix. So, various stages to ascension, initiation, absorption, integration. We go through each of these as we move through. Each dimension has 12 subharmonic frequencies to it. So each dimension is a frequency. And, the third dimension is a frequency with 12 subharmonics to it. The fourth dimension is a higher frequency. Fifth dimension, a higher frequency still, but each of them has 12 subharmonics. So as we move from dimension to dimension, we have to master and integrate each of the subharmonics. And it's a process of doing this, dimension to dimension to dimension. And again, there's a lot more to ascension and how to do it, but you know, maybe a talk for another day. So it's not just about us. This time around, it's not just about us. Again, this is one of the reasons why it's so important at this time. Earth needs to move as well. Earth needs to ascend. She's been trying to ascend stellar activation cycle after stellar activation cycle and has been prevented from doing it. 5D Earth is called Tara. And then when we move up again, that's the soul matrix level of Earth is called Tara. We move up again to the monad level, it's called Gaia. We move up again to the avatar level, it's called Aramatena. I think it just helps to give it a slightly different name so we know where we are. But, you know, there's a whole history around Tara. We're only here in 3D, on 3D Earth because of what happened on Tara. It's kind of like it's our future Earth, but it's also our past history. It's, you know, screws with your mind a bit. But there's a whole history of what went on Tara, and there's something called the fall of Tara that brought us down into this level. Now, Earth needs to move back to Tara to merge her morphogenetic fields back into Tara to make Tara whole. We need to go back to fifth dimensional living because we were seeded originally. Before we came to Earth, we were seeded as a fifth dimensional race. And we fell into the third dimension. And as I say, we've been trying very hard to get back, and the fallen races have been trying very hard to stop us. This is the third seeding in three-dimensionality, third dimensionality. They wiped out two previous ones before. And if they succeed at what's going on now, they'll wipe out another one. But we're absolutely buggered if we're going to let them, basically, aren't we? So, yeah. This time, we win. A little bit about the 5D or soul matrix template. As I say, everything gets that much lighter. We move into higher frequency bands, things get much lighter. We shed density. Now, a lot of you will have been feeling that. All of your baggage, your emotional baggage, has probably in the last couple of years been coming up and dancing on the table in front of you. All of your traumas and, you know, the bits of you don't like and the woes and the pains and things like this, for you to look at, say, fine, dealt with, let go. That's shedding density. It's been really, really hard work, but really important work to do. And you know, we all have bits left at the back of the cupboard and dusty corners and things like this. But I've likened it to being in an apple press, you know, and the pressure has been building and building and building. But we have to a very large extent made the shift. This took place earlier this year, spring-ish. Yeah.
And last year as well. It was
Yeah. So we've made that frequency shift, and I think I've put it into, we started in 2017. There was a period, 2012, there were big things around 2012, I'm sure we all remember that, you know, it was kind of like a damp squib, wasn't it? 2012 was really the start of this process. By 2017, it was kind of like we had to have reached a certain level of frequency. It's like kind of like building an energy slowly. We had to accrete enough energy to be able to start to make a shift at 2017. And then there's this movement. We've got 5 years in which to make this movement up through the dimensional bands, because there's a whole merging of membranes and things like this that needs to go on. And it was kind of like, can we get there? Can we get there? Like, think of a rocket taking off from Cape Canaveral. It's kind of like, it barely moves, doesn't it? And then suddenly you start to see it, and then it gathers and it gathers. And it's like, if it doesn't get enough force behind it, it falls back to earth. And it was like, can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? And by God, we did it. So we've made the move through. We now just need to adapt to where we are. Now, because none of us are taught this, this isn't what you're taught in junior school or senior school or anything like that, is it? Most people don't know what's going on. So you're kept ignorant. So there's, you know, you can feel changes. You can feel changes in yourself. You can feel things going on. Stuff is uncomfortable. It's tight. Feels like your skin doesn't fit, on and on and on. And what's the answer? Go to the doctor. He gives you drugs. And it just pulls you back, because creatures of fallen consciousness have got so many things in place to pull you, keep trying to pull you back, to bring you back out of the higher frequencies, to keep you down, to stop you rising. And so it was never a given. All the starseeds that came here had no guarantees attached to the fact that they would be able to go home, that what they were here to do would be successful. So, I mean, hats off to you all. You turned up anyway, you know, and it is because of you that Earth managed to make this shift, and the people on her. Now, there's a lot of people on this planet whose consciousness hasn't kept up, and they're finding the planet a very, very uncomfortable place to be. I don't know about you, but there was a period I kind of like hadn't dealt with some of my old stuff, and it was like, oh, oh, that doesn't feel good. You know, it's like a snake needing to shed its skin, you know, and it's itching, and it just doesn't fit anymore. And once it's gone and it's done, it's like, oh, thank the Lord for that, you know. But we are very new. You know, our skin is still wet and glistening from shedding the old one. And most people don't realise what's gone on. But we now need to, we have, my senses, and I think Felix would agree with me here, and I think maybe some others of you who are really aware, we have now fully anchored ourselves. So we've done this movement, we've pulled ourselves up, we've got enough sort of force behind us. We're at our new destination. Then you have to root yourself. You have to anchor yourself there. And again, with everything trying to pull us back, you know, World War III and Armageddon and, you know, God knows what going on, all trying to pull you back, pull you down. And there was a period where that could have happened. We are past that now. We are fully anchored, you know, our anchors are firmly in, we're not moving anywhere. But now we've got to update the program, because so many people don't, you know, still aren't with it. And there's a lot that's going to be going on, you know, as we settle in to our new environment, and we find ourselves or make ourselves, move ourselves into resonance with the new frequencies, not just on a good day, but all the time, and then move ourselves yet again up a band and up a band and up a band. And this is why it really helps to understand what's going on, doesn't it? Now I know what I'm doing. You know, now I know what that's about. Now I can see why they're doing that. You know, it really, really helps. So there's a lot of people out there that still need to let go of their 3D baggage. You know, it is like your computer is constantly updated. We've got to update that. We're in a new space. We're inhabiting a new cosmic address, literally inhabiting a new cosmic address. You know, we're in the fourth dimensions, moving, fourth dimensional bands, moving into the fifth dimensional bands, hopefully as quickly as possible. The fourth dimension, you know, is full of rubbish. It's full of rubbish because it's where a lot of the fallen races took up residence in order to control the third dimension. So we need to move through these as quickly as possible. It's why you're seeing so much crap going on around us. They're throwing everything at us they possibly can to try and make us, you know, digress again. But we see them. We see them. and you know, people left, right, and centre are calling them out. They hid in the shadows, but now the light is shining so brightly, there's nowhere for them to hide. And you know, we have, the Starseeds here, we have done the most immense job of work just getting to this place. But now the real work begins. Sorry, I know, we're all knackered. All knackered, but you know, but the next bit is lighter, it's brighter, it's more fun, it's more exciting. Just a few of the ascension symptoms that, you know, you're probably all very familiar with. Yeah, you know, the doctor can't help you with these. You've got to be kind to yourself. You've just got to be kind to yourself. If you reach a point where you think, I've just got to lie down, do it. If you think, I need a day off, take it. You know, go and see. I mean, there's some wonderful healers here. Some wonderful healers here. Go and see holistic healers, people who are energy healers, who have some understanding of this kind of thing. Because drugs won't help you through this. They'll only make things worse. I've had a theory for a very long time that, you know, a lot of people who are on antipsychotic drugs and things like this are actually starseeds who have woken up, not understanding the process that's going on. And, you know, I've seen this with one or two of my neighbours who come to me for help, and it's kind of like, I think I'm going mad. You know, one of them said to me, I'm going to kill myself. You know, if you can't help me, I'm going to kill myself because I just don't understand and I can't live like this. And, you know, if you go to the doctor, he just puts you on mind-numbing drugs that stops you totally, sabotages you, stops you ever moving into who you truly are and into taking up your mission here. So, yeah, a lot of, again, we'll look at starseed sabotage, but there's been massive amounts of that going on. Just very quickly, again, those of you who are energy workers may be aware of this, but as we move from Harmonic Universe 1 to Harmonic Universe 2, the three lower chakras, dimensions 1, 2, and 3, the lower three chakras, move into a unified column. As we move through the soul matrix level, 4, 5, 6, move into a unified column until we get up to the 7th level, where we then move into the braiding together of the personal and the transpersonal. We move into the beginning process of this hierogrammatic union of energies within us. But it's only at the lower levels that the chakras sit as separate entities. And again, part of the ascension process is bringing these, unifying all of these energies together into one source-connected column within us. Okay, so that's a bit of background about why you're here and what's been going on. So let's look a little bit more at starseeds. So a starseed, it's basically someone from a Christos race whose soul, when they came into this time matrix, this universe, originated at some other point than Earth. There's a lot of people on the Earth whose soul has only ever known incarnation on the Earth, but starseeds, their first incarnation in this time matrix has been somewhere else. It might have been 6th dimensional Sirius, or, you know, 9th dimensional Andromeda, or, you know, wherever it is. But there's also starseeds here who have come from outside our time matrix. There are, I mean, the call went far and wide and was answered by galactic and intergalactic races, not just from this time matrix. We are humbled, absolutely humbled by the help that we've been having. It brings me to my knees when I think about it. You know, we are so loved and so cared for. Everything source-connected matters. Doesn't matter where it is. And source-connected races, when the call goes out, they come to help. Even if they have to come a very, very long way. So starseeds have taken up incarnation here on the Earth. There are huge groupings of galactic families at the other dimensions or working from the invisible realms at the levels of light to heal a lot of the damage that's been done. But we have come here, taken on these heavy suits of flesh in order to literally hold, stand here and anchor. And every starseed, whether they're aware of it or not, is doing that. When the starseed starts to wake up, they become far more effective at doing it for starters, but then you start to move into your mission, and that changes from starseed to starseed. And none of us have a single mission. You know, we have all sorts of things going on at various levels. So, you know, multidimensionality, your understanding of multidimensionality will begin to open up. One of the things that a lot of people, I sort of do starseed readings for people, and one of the things they say to me again and again is, I just feel like I'm part, you know, there's something bigger going on and I don't really understand it, and you know, I just want to understand more of it. And for me, I mean, I love doing the starseeds readings for people, because what I'm doing is introducing them to their bigger self, to who they truly are. This is their immortal self as opposed to their sort of very mortal human self. And when you start to make that reconnection back through, again, there's this expansion of consciousness and a reworking of everything you thought you knew about the world, basically. Everything you thought you knew about the world. And all of the lies and the illusions and the delusions that we're surrounded with start to fall away, and you start to, it can be a difficult process, you know, to let go of everything you thought you knew and replace it with something more real. There's loss in that, but what you gain is, it's a pearl beyond price. It really is. So, you know, an awakening starseed is reclaiming their galactic families. They're reclaiming their understanding of who they are and their place in the universe and what they're here to do, which, as I've outlined to you, you know, it's a big mission to get the human race, not just the human race, because there are other Christos races out there as well, out of the clutches of fallen consciousness. And fallen consciousness have had the upper hand for a long time now, but no more. No more. Their time is over. We just have to, we've won the war. Well, we just have to clear up the rubbish. And there's a lot, and they're kicking and screaming. You can see, I mean, the damage that's being done out there now is huge. The suffering that's out there now is huge, but they're like bratty teenagers who are, you know, trashing the joint on their way out, basically. And we just need to get the broom and sweep them out as quickly as possible. And then we have a big repair job to do. And the work for us all going forwards is, what does the new Earth look like? What do truly human, friendly structures, cultures, societies, organisations, what do these look like? Because we've been working with anti-human ones for so long now, most people can't imagine anything different. But imagine, you know, as a woman, being able to have a career that doesn't digress because you've stopped to have children, and that fits in around the children, and that sees the bringing up and the educating of children as being the most precious thing that anyone could do, and taking each of these lives, each of these unique, wonderful lives, and finding the gifts and talents of each of them, and bringing those to full birth and full blossom, and then showing them how they can fit in and bring their creativity and their uniqueness and their gifts and their talents in service to the whole. You know, it's a very, very different way of community, a very, very different way of living. And we need to look at, and that's again, it's a starseed. Starseeds will lead the way on this. The human race will come on behind, but they've never known this. How can they imagine what they don't know? We are the ones that need to start bringing these visions in and making them concrete reality. Understanding how we work with the energies, how we work collectively to bring these visions in and anchor them in, as we have anchored in the higher energies that have allowed us to make this shift. So, you know, starseeds have a big job to do, a really big job to do. And the miracle of it is, so much has been done, not just to the human race, but as I say, it's ramped up since starseeds started incarnating on the planet in big numbers. The war against them has been ramped up hugely. So, you know, if you feel like you've done 10 rounds with Mike Tyson, you have, and more besides. You really have. So pat yourself on the back. We're still standing. I mean, feebly, you know, we may be somewhat scarred and battered and maybe a bit crippled and limping, but by God, we're still here. And that in itself is it's to be applauded and it's to be celebrated. Just an idea of some of the missions that some of these you'll maybe recognise in yourself. It's like, I mean, I think I felt it initially like it was just a tug. I mean, I felt it always coming from the heart. It was just a tug, and it didn't make sense, and it was weird, and it was kind of like, you know, why am I doing this? And I come from a very conservative family, small c family, and you know, always the odd one out. Oh, Sarah, you know, what's she up to now? She's so weird. Oh, you know, for God's sake, shut up. You know, stop going on about that. I mean, I got huge grief from my family until I went underground. I just stopped telling them, you know. But then that seems very sneaky, doesn't it? But anyway, that was the way I survived them. Yeah, we're here to first and foremost anchor frequency. We all hold codes. We all hold codes within us. Our DNA, you know, and again, they're unique. We all come from different races. We all have different experiences. I mean, I've got people here. That's my phone, by the way. My apologies. Should have switched it off. That's Starship Command. Yeah, absolutely. Get my instructions. Yeah, I'm B and David here. We went to, we did a grid work trip to the Emperor Dragon lines that some of you may or may not be aware of. I mean, by God, what we picked up there, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. But those are codes we picked up from very specific earth energies, ley line frequencies, and then just took it into, you know, we've been bringing it into all the stargates, the other ley lines, the nodes, the portal points, things like this. And equally, we pick up from them and take them elsewhere. And, you know, the frequencies that we accrete, we gather into us, you'll be sharing with all the people, all the places you go, all the people you bump into. And, you know, you're doing this, whether you're aware of it or not, because that is what you're designed to do. I've talked a little bit about introducing new structures. There are people who this is one of their primary missions, and I've seen some of the work some of them are putting together. It's amazing. We just need more people now to get behind it, because it needs, again, it's getting all the energy behind it to make this happen and to bring it into manifestation. We all know how manifestation works. It's about bringing intent and will behind, you know, a well-formed vision and pulling the energy, magnetizing that into form. Grid work is a big one. But there's been so much, like our light bodies have been damaged, the planetary light body has been damaged. So there's been huge amounts of work that is needed to be doing, repairing ley lines, repairing portals, repairing stargates, recovering grids. The grids, I can't tell you what's been done to the grids. Unbelievable what's been done to the grids. twisted and warped, the wrong energies run through it, and the damage that's been done. So there's been, a lot of work at this level, a lot of work being done off planet on putting this right, but a lot of work on planet as well. Healing modalities, we've got Felix here who's brought through a new healing modality for these times, and so needed. And others here, I'm sure, who are doing the same. We're seeing new ways of thinking, seeing, interacting, connecting, healing, coming through at so many levels. And this is the work that Starseeds are here to do. It's just begin to open up so that humanity has a path it can follow. Record retrieval, that's one of the missions that I have is finding the true organic histories that have been overlaid with these artificial timelines, these artificial stories, these artificial histories, being told we're nothing better than apes. I mean, please, But, very intelligent people believe it, because we've also been taught not to question. When those in authority tell us something, our job is just to say, oh, right, yeah, swallow it whole. And it's undoing all of that. And it's a massive process because it's interwoven. Truth is interwoven with lies. And you have to untangle that. It's like having this great gnarled ball of wool and having to untangle it. So record retrieval is important, because if we don't know where we've come from, who we are and where we've come from, moving forwards becomes difficult, because we don't really know what we're capable of or where we're going or what our end destination is. And soul fragment retrieval, that's a big one. We're all doing that. Not so much now. A lot of the majority of the back of that work has been broken, but it's certainly been a big one for a fair part of my lifetime, and I'm sure all of you are familiar with aspects of that work. As I said, sabotage for Starseeds is very common, all sorts of ways. The sabotage for me started with my birth. We come in, we choose our birth time, we choose our birth parents very deliberately, because there are forces, cosmic forces, that support what we're here to do, and DNA codes and lineages that support what we're here to do. So we choose where we come in and how we come in and things like that. Fallen races, if they can, particularly if they get wind of the fact you're coming in, will try and sabotage that. My birth time was sabotaged by 4 weeks. And it's had a big impact on how effective I've been able to be here. I should have been doing this work 20 years ago. It's taken me a long time to move through the consequences of what was done at my birth. Vaccinations, that's the next thing. I was vaccinated, I don't know about you, but I was brought up abroad, and I was vaccinated every 6 months against something. Cholera, typhoid, on and on it went. By the time we came back to this country, I was about 12 by the time we came back to this country, my vitality was gone. That's without the normal childhood vaccinations. Great means of just taking someone's stamina down, taking their vitality down. And we all know that if you don't have your health, you're not very effective, are you? It took me a long time to reclaim that. Poor nutrition. The processed food's been a big sabotage on everyone. Exposure to frequency nets. Well, we all have that as we come in. We're slated as we come into incarnation. We move through frequency nets to get into the earth. And those frequency nets wipe us. They separate us from our race memories, from our race histories, from our cosmic histories, from our personal histories, which we plug back into as we get back into 5th dimensional, 6th dimensional, 7th dimensional levels of consciousness. We plug back in.
I've not heard of that. So frequency net, sorry to I've not heard of that.
Have you not? No, it's. They surround the Earth. They were put in, I think it was about 13,000 years ago, 13,000 BC, 15,000 years ago, isn't it? And only ramped up and added to. And all of this stuff is managed by AI. AI is not new. AI is very old. AI has been in this universe a long time, brought into this universe by races of fallen consciousness from without. Again, that's a whole epic story, but you know, for another time. Yeah, implants and seals, both physical implants and etheric implants. There were a lot of, again, you know, you speak to energy healers like Felix, he'll tell you, you know, there are a lot of etheric implants put in at different dimensional levels within our light body that close down our access to certain things and keep us dumb, keep us stupid, basically, keep us incapacitated. Abuse and trauma, again, this is thrown at Starseeds an awful lot. You know, it might be illnesses, serious life-threatening illnesses. It might be, I mean, I had sexual abuse as a child that puts a lot of emotional trauma in you, that shuts you down until it all gets cleared out. And then it goes on into, as you grow up, it goes on into relationship traumas, because if you've been sexually abused, you cannot have a healthy relationship, you know, until you've dealt with it. And so, you know, unless you wake up and confront it, it just takes you around in a loop. You're kept in a holding pattern. You never get the chance to begin the outward spiral. So, you know, they're very, very clever patterns. Misinformation and deception, that's rife. All of our wisdom teachings, our old records, our histories have all been messed about with. Yes, there's truth in them, mixed with a lot of lies and disinformation. I showed you a bit earlier the Kabbalah, the Tree of Life of the Kabbalah. That's, I mean, I learned about the Tree of Life and, you know, about how it expressed the movement of consciousness and all sorts of things like this. It's missing two big chunks. It's missing the 12th chakra, which is the one that takes you above and beyond, and it's missing the 8th, which is the central chakra. It's the galactic core and the center of us. So it's like having the heart pulled out and the ultimate ascension capability pulled out of those teachings. And I always, I actually wrote a course on that, never taught it because I always felt there's something about this that isn't quite right. And, you know, God bless my instinct, it was right, that there was some very important bits of it missing. AI technology, and we see that very, very openly now, but it's been around, as I say, a long time, a very long time. There's something called the beast machine, which is the blank slating technology. I mean, yeah, we'll be here a long time if I go through it all. Felix was saying to me earlier, I've written a book called Understanding Ascension. He was saying to me earlier, Understanding Descension, you need to write a book on all the fallen stuff. But I tell you, that will keep you awake at nights. So, you know, when starseeds are first awakening, they are very, very vulnerable because, you know, we're seekers. We know there's more. There's something going on. You know, we're curious. And then all of these New Age deceptions start dropping into place. It's, you know, a lot of the New Age, not all of it by any means, but a lot of the New Age has been hijacked. And hijacked in order to make starseeds ineffective. If I keep you busy over here on this pile of rubbish, you're not over here being effective. You know, and it divides us as well. People then become very, well, I don't believe in that, and, you know, my I don't know, witchy something or other is better than your witchy something. I mean, you see it. There's a lot of backbiting within the so-called New Age spiritual communities. Nothing spiritual about it at all. It's been infiltrated and digressed. And, you know, there's a lot of rituals so-called ascension teachings and things like that that are designed to lead you in the wrong direction. And you don't know better at this particular point. We're a trusting race. The human race is a trusting race. So, false ascension teachings are rife. And it's taken me many, many years of going through old wisdom teachings, looking at the old mystery school teachings and things like this, and knowing there was truth in them, but not able to make sense of them because there were so many lies. And it's only been, as I say, I'll let you have copies of these because I know it's hard to read. So it's so hard to sort the wheat out from the chaff within it. It really is. But we all have source connection within us. Now, it's another thing. We've been taught to give our authority out there. We need to pull our authority back in. We are all source connected. Find that point, develop it, strengthen it. I call it the God spark. We look at this within the Starseed readings, at the God spark. And the more you are source connected and you come back to that, the more you can feel into the vibration of something. And it's like I can pick up a book now, get 2 or 3 pages in and think, nah. Because there's a level at which my energy field is reading the energy field of the book. It's within you. I mean, I used to annoy me so much. People would say, oh, you've got to go within, the greater guide is within. All it's like, just tell me what to do. But it's true. It's true. You're your own best friend in this. You just need to trust yourself. And we've been, again, taught not to trust ourselves.
Can I just say, we've also been taught that to get from A to B, you have to do something.
Yeah.
Rather than be someone.
Absolutely spot on. Yeah. Yeah. And we've been... we've been taught we need teachers. Well, yes, teachers are very helpful, but not when we give our power to them. We all need to stand in our own sovereignty. Yes, teachers are there to help. I'll happily help any of you. Email me, talk to me, but by God, I want you to go away, take what I'm saying, look at it critically. Some of it will fit for you, some of it won't. Work out what does make sense to you and move forward from there. And if something doesn't make sense, come to me, talk to me about it. Let's figure out what's dissonant. And it may be that opens up your pathway for you. But it's not about taking everything someone says and just swallowing it whole. It's about, that's interesting, let me go away and think about it. Like that bit, I'll keep that bit doesn't feel right. I'm not sure about that can stay in the pending file. So, yeah. Flower of Life, I've put that up as one of the examples. The Flower of Life is something, a New Age teaching that's absolutely rife. It actually describes a closed loop energy system. Anything that's a closed loop energy system is basically from fallen consciousness. Fallen consciousness is about constriction. It's about the Fibonacci energies which eventually eat themselves. It's a digressive form of energy that literally goes around and around and around until it uses up all of its energy quanta and implodes. Whereas the Christos energy, the crystal spiral energy, is an eternal flow of energy. It's to source and back again, to source and back again, eternally renewing, eternally moving. And so we have the false flower of life, and then we have what's called the eternal lotus, or the lotus of life, which is, and again, you'll see it clearer when I send you through the slides. But I mean, look this up. You can find this kind of information, not freely online. Again, you've got to be discerning. But there is quite a bit of stuff appearing online about it now. Just again, base 10 tree of life, base 12 organic tree of life. As you see, the base 10 has lost the core and it's lost the crown. And it's the energy as a result becomes twisted. It becomes twisted. It becomes what's called a reversal energy. Now you think those beautiful organic flows of source energy being twisted and warped. Think what that does to you. Again, that's just an example of the different dimensional levels within. The Tree of Life is our core manifestation template. This is the core template of life. It sits at the base of every light body structure, not just ours, animals, plants, planets, solar systems, all of this. It's a core manifestation template for this universe, and how it sits within us there. So, you know, think of what you know about the Tree of Life, the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, and think about what it's really saying to you. And I go into it in a lot more detail in the Building the Light Body book, and how it speaks to your multidimensional self and the different levels of consciousness, and how that is the base template that everything you are here today is built upon, that layer by layer by layer, and how you've been taught the rubbish that they teach about it. There are different Starseeds templates. I talked about the human template being a 12-strand one. There are plenty of other, it's called a diamond sun template. The 12 strands template is called a diamond sun template. There's a double diamond sun, which is 24 strand, gold sun, amethyst or violet sun, emerald sun. The emerald sun is 48 strands. There are, we have races, Christos races called the Azurites and the Orifim here. They hold anything from a 24 to a 48 strand template. Doesn't mean they're better than us. Doesn't mean they're more advanced. Well, they're certainly, you know, sort of doing better at the consciousness level than we are, but they would not hold themselves above us. And this is where, you know, when you're being contacted by the Galactic Federation of Light saying, you know, we're more advanced beings than you and things like that, Christos beings don't look at it that way, wouldn't look at it that way, wouldn't present themselves that way. Because they may hold a more advanced template, but it's because the job they've been given to do in this time matrix requires them to have that template. And they would see having that more advanced template as being a huge responsibility. Think about old kingship, what kingship used to mean. You are in service to the people. And the more status you had, the more effectively responsibility you had in protectorship, in guardianship. That's the Christos way of looking at things. Now it's been totally warped and inverted into, I'm better than you, you know, I've got more money, I've got more status, I've got more power, you know, I look down on you, I'm superior to you. That's not true kingship. So all of these different templates, you know, they're about service. They're about what you're here to do. The fallen, these are the fallen race templates. The fallen race templates, they unplug themselves from the 12th dimensional current. So a fallen consciousness cannot plug into the 12th dimensional, chooses not to plug into source consciousness energies. And yeah, digress templates. I thought you might be interested in this, just to see, this is the human race down here. Chiranusium 2, that's the Chiranusium 1 are the 5D Tarans. When we were originally seeded, the Chiranusium 2 is the earth seeding of the Christos human template. Our progenitors are the Orifim, but these are the founder races, the Elohai, Elohim, the Seraphai, Seraphim, the Brahmarama races, and we all source from them in one way or another. But it's just quite fun, I think, to see, have some sense of your galactic family, the Christos galactic families. And there are thousands and millions of races under each of those headings. So these are kind of like, it's a big picture. And on the fallen side of things, these are the main intruder races that we're dealing with on Earth. It's the Anunnaki and the Draco and all the variations thereof. And there are so many stories to tell about them. They have bred and interbred depending upon shifting and changing alliances, and some have got insect or insect reptilian templates, and some are mammalian, avian templates, and on it goes. A vast range of them, all of them nasty. So, yeah, just beware. Indigos, mentioned indigos, a lot of you know about indigos. As I said, they come in with the 12th strand activated. They're here, I mean, not every starseed is an indigo, but the indigos are there with this 6th strand activated, and they're there to be the way showers into the monad level. They have to recover the 4th and 5th strand, plug in the 4th and 5th strand when they come into incarnation. As soon as they've got the 5th strand fully plugged in, the 6th strand is there activated, way showers into the next level. So they're the ones really, really moving us forwards. And they're very special people, very special children. A lot of indigos now, they're now in their sort of 30s and 40s, really waking up to their missions, really coming alive. And that's why the sabotage has been stepped up to unbelievable levels, because they don't want them coming online. 3 basic types of indigos. You know, there are all variations on these themes, but indigo 1, mainly grid workers. They do a lot of grid work and healing work. Indigo type 2, healers. The indigo type 3 are interesting. They're polarity bridges. They come into very difficult situations, into bodies that usually have a lot of reptilian hybridization within them, because there's the human race has been messed about with hugely, so there's a lot of hybridization, and they come in to basically heal that hybridization. So it's a kind of like good angel, bad angel in the same body, and the indigo's mission is to ensure the good angel wins control of that body, basically. There are indigo type 4s, which are really sort of bringing a lot of this together, but you'll find, because so many starseeds have been deactivated, have been sabotaged, a lot of those who haven't and who are effective are taking on missions like, you know, we're all healers, we're all grid workers, we're all trying to heal divide and bring things together. You know, it's nice just to have one job to do. Yeah, dream on. Not just yet. These are just listing there some of the starseeds that in the readings I've done that I've come across. The Andromedans or Mission Realmers, they are from the next galaxy over and include the Aurora races. The blueprinters, I'm a blueprinter myself, we come directly from the source fields, we don't from the founder fields. We don't have a point of origin. We kind of like, I mean, there are different ones. There are blueprinter technicians and blueprint deliverers and blueprint changers. I'm one of the, what would you call them, troubleshooters, to see where the problems are and try and find some of the solutions, basically. But yeah, different sorts, and the book I've written, Understanding Starseeds, it talks about the human experience, being that starseed coming into a human body. How does that express itself, basically? Because there are characteristics. Every star system has specific characteristics. Mintakans, for example. Mintaka was all but destroyed. Beautiful planet. Beautiful, beautiful planet. I have memories of Mintaka myself. Absolutely heartbreaking. It was all but destroyed. It was a water planet. So Mintakans are, A, they like water, but B, you know, They're always wanting home. They don't know where home is because home is lost to them, and so on. So there are stories behind different ones. The Procyon, for example, they had their genetics stolen. Very beautiful race. Had their genetics stolen by the fallen races. Genetics are gold in the galaxy. Genetics are gold. And there's a race of Anunnaki called the Samyazi Anunnaki, which we know here as the Nordics. You know, sort of blonde hair, blue eyes, very, very pretty, very handsome, you know, that are here basically to take us down. And because we're such a trusting race and, oh, you're so handsome, you must be good. You know, and they come from the Pleiades. Oh, Pleiadian, beautiful Pleiadian. Oh, you must be good. No. There's bad Syrians, there's bad Pleiadians. So yeah, just a sense of that. The Aurora races, some of you may have heard of the Aurora races. The Aurora races are from the next galaxy over, which is the Andromedan galaxy, and they are here helping at all sorts of levels. Now we have races from even beyond what's called this Akasha, which is this selection of universes, this collection of universes and galaxies. There are races from far beyond that, but the Aurora are the one I think that most people are probably most familiar with, and they come in as beautiful, opalescent, rainbow, pastel, beautiful colours, amazing beings. And one of the things they're doing, I mean, we've got a big dark matter body template, which is the template that our light body template is built upon. There's a big dark matter body upgrade going on in the planet and therefore in ourselves at the moment. And they will be very instrumental in that, and they've been very instrumental in trying to heal and clear the elemental fields as well, the 2D fields of the Earth, which have been so damaged. We're very nearly at the end, you'll be pleased to hear. Embodying the Christos teachings. Basically, how do we get back to our 12-strand DNA? We embody the Christos teachings. You know, we live this. We understand and are connected to all life. We recognize the divinity within ourselves, which means that all of those issues of self-worth and I'm not deserving and I hate myself fall away because you are the divine. The divine sits within you. We have to learn to undo that program. It's been one of the most damaging programs that's been put into us. It takes us away from ourselves and therefore away from connection with all life. Recognizing that divinity in others. I mean, these are Christ teachings, you know, very simply put. Recognize the consciousness of nature, cherish and protect, guardianship of the planetary Templar. The Templar is effectively the template. So we're talking about earth energies, about stargates, about ley lines, about the planetary light body. And that is part one of, you know, the Earther human, that is one of their functions, is to be the guardian, the protector of this planet. And we've forgotten it. We've forgotten how. Hold and embody ever higher frequencies, awareness and responsibility for co-creation, awareness and alignment to the universal laws, knowing and understanding the universal laws, working in alignment with those. Every galactic being needs to know them. Every galactic being. Because that's how you bring flow in, effectively. So it's about the old-fashioned virtues, living, being, embodying the old-fashioned virtues. You know, having integrity, having honour, understanding what honour is, and, you know, being good for your word. All of these things, very old-fashioned, but we need to bring them back. Right. I've just about done it on time, she says. Yeah, I've written various books. There's copies there if you want to have a look at them. Available on Amazon and off my website. I'm in the process at the moment of writing a book on galactic history. I'll be following that up with Earth history because it would be a mighty tome if I put them all in one. And after that I shall be writing about what's called Templar mechanics. I've written a book on the human light body, but I will write about the Earth light body and working with Earth energies as well. So, you know, a lot of information to share. There's loads more I could tell you. loads more, but hopefully that's given you some understanding and some insight and inspired you for the next leg of your mission. Thank you. Should you choose to accept it, yeah, and it is always choice. Thank you.
Thank you.